Welcome, everybody, to the Unrivaled Potential podcast. Welcome for a special Thanksgiving episode of the Unrivaled Potential podcast, where we're just going to talk about all the things we're so thankful for. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Ryan. This is Mike Pomeroy, Mr. Everything Unrivaled, and Unrivaled Potential is sponsored this week by Unrivaled Plumbing and Heating as part of getting out their new branding and cool trucks. So if you haven't seen them around town, you're missing out.
Or online.
Yeah, that too. You might see them online too.
Yeah.
Or on YouTube.
I think some, yeah. I did a couple videos yesterday on a job. But
cool.
I just got to get them over.
Yeah, I'll do that right after we get done here. Get them over to our graphics guy, make them look pretty.
Graphics guy.
Yeah. AKA Ryan's other job.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a lot to be thankful for. Business is good.
Yeah, learning how to, it was hard, the anticipation of what this slower season would bring, right? And some of it I know is 3 years of heavy marketing. I was talking to one of my guys about that yesterday, because we have anticipation because last year at this time we did a third of what we did last year, right? And it was incredibly slow. Call volume wise and just everything like that. And this year it's obviously tripled what it did last year in November. And so we were anticipating slowing down.
Right, because October was a record month. So you're thinking, okay, it's going to fall off at least a little, right?
Yeah, and then you get so much. You have to take that mindset of, okay, I don't believe in this slow season. I'm going to keep like we've been pushing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're upgrading some new marketing, trying some new techniques, branching out, doing some different styles, maybe some more radio, whatever. And that still takes a lot of money that we could be hoarding, right, for slow months, but still believing that this is going to continue on. And it's definitely paid off, right? Trying some new markets of work, not just marketing, but new markets like Mesa County. Those kinds of things are they've definitely been wise choices that we've learned now. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Trying new things and having done some of the other stuff long enough to start reaping the rewards. Because there, I know there was days for me, and I'm sure days for you, where you're feeling like, okay, I'm spending $2,000 a month on this thing, and I don't feel like it's working, or it doesn't feel like it's paid off yet. And now it's like, oh, okay, that investment I made 6 months ago is now generating customers today.
Yeah.
And being able to actually look back and say, okay, yeah, it may have been a little stressful to go through that season when it wasn't, turning into 5x and 10x returns. But now it's like, okay, all right, now I can see when I do this thing tomorrow, it's building my paycheck for January. It's building my paycheck for November of next year, things like that.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking back. I think we've put, the last couple of years, 3 years, we've put close to $500,000 into marketing, right?
Wow.
And it's something that was a worthy investment to where we're in a slow season now looking at hiring more people, right? It's a slow season. And that's just encouraging, right? I'm still sitting there. This would need to continue on for several months for me to be like, all right, we're past that. How do we prepare for that? Because it could happen again, right? We get a crash or whatever, but service world is one of those things that stuff always breaks. So
yeah,
that part is, we've definitely protected ourselves with continuing to boost marketing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where if you guys are just starting out, or if you're plateaued, or you're at the top of the mountain and you just want to keep going, learn the lessons of businesses that have been there before. Kroger is a great example of this. They advertise hard through slow periods, when the economy gets bad, when everybody else is backing off and things like that. They advertise hard. I don't know if you watch TV at all, but they hammered the market during COVID. Like it was, you watch your program, Kroger commercial, back to your program. Like,
Yeah, well, they were the first ones that came up with the pickup window, right?
yeah. Well, yeah.
The City
You
Market,
can get it-
Kroger, any of
You
those.
can get it delivered. You can get it. You can
Yeah.
pick it up. You can, probably DoorDash and all that too. Hashtag DoorDash paid me.
Yeah.
Talk about it because I get paid.
Yeah.
But because of that, they don't see that return during that slow time. But when things pick back up, you see 25-50% growth in those markets where they handle marketing. So if you're like feeling crunched, feeling stressed, feeling like your advertising is not working, just remember you advertise when it's slow so you don't get slow.
Yeah.
It's not the other way around. It's not like, well, yes, you make hay while the sun's shining, but you're making hay while the sun's shining so that you don't have really bad years. You have little blips and slight slowdowns as opposed to a crash.
And if we're slow, just like, usually it means that everyone else is slow too. So say like a thing like COVID or crash or whatever, well, those are the opportunities if you're using social media or TV or radio while everyone's listening to it at a higher level because they weren't doing anything.
Yeah, well, and I saw this back when we used to sell phone book ads. A ton of people canceled.
Phone book.
It's a relic from the 1900s. No,
They
really.
built it on papyrus. Yeah.
Yes, we wrote it down on papyrus. Had to stamp every page, carve out the blocks and stamp every page of the phone book. But I saw this in the phone book industry, and I got into it way late. When I was 26 and I started selling phone book ads, I asked them, do people still read the phone book? And they're like, absolutely. Boomers and seniors, this is their go-to. And I didn't believe them at first. And it was mostly true. Like older people definitely used it more than anybody else. It did go from like 15 billion references to 5 billion references when the iPhone came out. But all that said, when 90% of the advertisers left the phone book because nobody used the phone book anymore, the 5% that stayed got 95% more results
Right.
because there was no competition. So there's, a downturn or a shift in the economy and stuff like that. It's just an opportunity to figure out what's the next new phase. I don't know if, I'll just say it because not that many people listen to our podcast that it's a big deal. But I shouldn't say that, right? Positive confession. Anyway, one of my next big ramp up things is going to be alternative advertising channels. So people don't really push hard on Truth Social or DuckDuckGo, things like that, where it's kind of it's not Google, it's not Facebook, it's the alternative. People who don't want to be tracked by Google or they don't want to give their money to what's the guy's name, Zuckerberg. They want to fund conservative causes or libertarian causes, or they just don't want anybody following them. They go to those alternative markets, and a lot of these people have money. We should be advertising to them, and we do to an extent. But that's going to be one of my big pushes in the next new year is offering a full-blown alternative package. Like, okay, you want Google? Great. Google makes the phone ring. Cool. Let's tap into this, 25% of the market that nobody else is touching. And how do you do that?
Yeah.
Just a little sneak peek for all.
Because you never know when one of those is going to take off, right?
Yeah.
And it really could. I've heard of some of those ones, but not very many of them. But
Yeah, Outkick, some alternative media and things like that. There is another one, Patriot something, but yeah, there's a bunch of them that, like you said, one of them could just take off, or you could have some kind of giant scandal or lawsuit and millions flee Facebook or
Right.
Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Sorry, X. I think Elon Musk's a bright guy, but Twitter's still one of the most widely known brands in the world, and he changed it to X. What do you think, Mike? Brilliant or stupid?
I wouldn't question the man, really in that. There's got to be a level to it that we probably don't understand. I guess is how I look at it, because it didn't make sense to me either. And everyone still calls it Twitter because of what it was named for, and that the name is catchier than X. So
X is just a letter, right?
it really is, and it's nobody remembers it, right? But I don't know whether it's been pushed to the side, and eventually there's another purpose to it, is what I see. There was a whole purpose to it. Whether it really was, he was just pissed off with the company. But once again, he's a trillionaire, so he doesn't make foolish business decisions at this point in his life. I mean, he could, but I haven't seen it. So
Seems like he's doing okay.
yeah, it seems like he's doing all right. So I think
He sold Bitcoin.
there's a hidden purpose to some of this, right? And it's funny. It's how I look at the world now is so different. So I was in Sam's Club the other day and bought a picture frame that's digital. You can flip stuff onto it, and then to do so, you have to put in your email address and phone number. And I thought, what? Because the picture frame was inexpensive for what it was, and but I really like it, and it's enjoyable. And I thought, what a fantastic scheme. I just paid $60 for this picture frame, and now you've gathered my information. How many millions of these things have been sold? Create a product that you have to use it. You have to put in your information, and then they take millions of names, phone numbers, emails, and sell them. Heck yes, I want to do that one of these days. And I look at that stuff now, and I go, why in the world was this so cheap? It's not just because it's Sam's Club. And then I went to sign on. I was like, I want to give you all my information. I just want to cast to the stupid picture frame.
Yeah, just use Wi-Fi, right?
and I was like, oh, this is it. Sell a product somebody wants and get your information and use it to make money elsewhere.
Yep. Google's been doing it for the last 20 years or 30, and people didn't realize it until about year 15. And what are you going to do? You'd be like, oh, I'm just going to cancel all my Google products and only use DuckDuckGo or something like that. No, most of us are just going to keep using it and just be okay with having our data sold to the highest bidder.
So yeah, it's become what happens now. Like, you're used to it, deleting all these spam emails and whatever else.
I love people who they're like, oh no, I don't use Google, tracking me too much. And then they pull out their smartphone and it's like, okay, so somebody else is tracking you. We got Google. But
yeah, they don't think the process all the way through. I've had several customers like, I don't use Google for what they support and everything, so I'll leave a review some other way or give me some business cards to hand out. And more power to you, but they always have cell phones
or Facebook.
and I'm like, oh, well, it's nice to stand on something, and I get it, but what are you really helping?
Be all in or could complain about it. Go live in a cabin in the woods.
And most of the time they are. They're just living in a single person household.
There you go. See, that's the common denominator.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. Nobody else has told them to knock their crap off, and they live in this little home, and you're like, nobody cares what you're doing.
You are really sticking it to Google right now, by not using them.
You're on Social Security, or $15,000 a year or $60,000. Like, no, nobody cares. You could go pick up fertilizer, and they're not going to be like bomb your house with a SWAT team, right? It's and you
That's a lot of fertilizer.
You try and talk to them and have an intelligent conversation. You're just sitting there going, like, these people are nuts. Like, I'm big enough now that I still don't have concerns that I'm big enough for someone to like come in and steal my assets or like mess with our privacy or anything like that, right? But there'll be a point where it'll be a concern. But you have to be really doing something and push some buttons. Yeah, sure, they're tracking you, but probably not for the reasons you think, where you need to put a tinfoil hat on and protect your conversation that you're saying against the president. Yeah.
Right. Me and my brother, we always used to joke. We'd say, Obama assassination on the phone. Be like, oh, now they're listening. The NSA triggers went off and now live agent.
Let's see what's going to happen.
You've got a live agent online. No, I figured I was on a watch list just because of being a veteran gun owner. But even that doesn't really bump into the top of the list.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go on X and start ranting some crazy stuff. Although I don't, you watch the news at all about the guy the guy who shot the president who got his ear, you know? All this stuff's coming out. They're like, we don't know why he did it. We can't figure it out. Well, apparently he had a whole YouTube channel and multiple different platforms where he was just spewing all this hateful stuff, talk about what he was going to do to the president. Can't figure out, you know, we don't know what radicalized him. You know, he's a trans furry phobia or not.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, you know, we're gonna put all those guys on a watch list,
Yeah. But the guys that got into his head on a watch list, I mean, it's just
right?
who has, well, we just talked about this just a little bit earlier, and I won't bring it up, but who has that much time and energy to be that angry?
Yeah.
Like I get angry, and there's moments where I just absolutely infuriated about stuff, and anymore, it just I have no patience I have no patience in general, but I have no patience in that regard to even let it. I mean, I guess it's beneficial both ways to let it bother my whole day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know?
Because well, in most of those situations, that guy who's freaking out and mad and ranting and raving and it's running his whole life, whether it's a angry customer, an in-law, or you know, a furry in his mom's basement who's going to kill the president, whoever that is, the other person has totally forgotten about it and has moved on, and you're not, you know, there's nothing going on in their life that has to do with that, and it's just sucking, you know, it's just poison. They're just eating that poison every day and basically killing themselves. Enough about that. Let's talk about the things we are thankful for on this Thanksgiving episode. I'm thankful that he, you know, only got the president's ear, because I swear to God, there would have been riots in the street and, you know, the whole country would have melted down. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for good customers who, you know, took a flyer on me when I was just starting my business.
Right.
I appreciate that. And I am thankful for prosperity and God's provision. I'm thankful. My son asked me, "Hey, Dad, what's going on in the news these days?" And I was like, well, "Not a whole lot. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
life's good. I don't know if I'm ever going to get this Doge stimulus check, but that'd be nice." Have you heard about that? Oh yeah, well, you know, because they saved billions of dollars with Doge or whatever, the Department of Government Efficiency. So they cut billions and billions of dollars, kicked 150-year-old dead people off of Social Security that were getting checks, and you know, got rid of non-essential government positions, and supposedly saved, you know, billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars.
Oh, is this what the recent shutdown was? I heard about it.
No, that's a whole different thing.
Oh.
But supposedly, because they saved all this money, they were going to give us a tax rebate because they, you know, didn't need our money anymore. I think it's just rumors to get people talking about it. Anyway, the recent shutdown was because so Obamacare's, you know, the Affordable Care Act is not very affordable, and so during 2020, in order to help people through the tough times that were COVID, they took all the limits off of the supplements that you could get for getting your health care, not your health care, your health insurance. And so you could get tax credits for health insurance if you earned up to like $350,000 a year, which actually I don't know if there was a limit, but you know, multimillionaires were still eligible to get tax credits on their health insurance. Well, that was supposed to be a 1-year program, and then the Biden administration voted it in and made it permanent or semi-permanent. And so when that was coming up for renewal, this last Congress, they got rid of the super supplements. And so it was just going back to the normal Obamacare, where if you make up to $175,000 a year, you're still eligible for tax credits.
Oh, okay.
Which seems reasonable, right? Like $175,000 a year is not that much anymore, and health insurance is really expensive. But the Democrats decided that no, we need the super supplements, so they wouldn't vote for the continuing resolution to just keep the government open unless we brought back the trillions of dollars worth of supplements to pay for the Affordable Care Act. So they finally got tired of fighting and gave up and said, "Look here." But now the Republicans are on board, so they're all crooks. Yeah. So, it was a great reason to have government employees take a 6-week vacation and get back pay. Hopefully no one was too badly hurt by it. I know we, dealing with foster families and stuff like that, a lot of those, especially the kinship families, they qualify for SNAP and EBT or whatever the food and housing benefits were. A lot of them were having to hit shepherd's hand and get food boxes and things like that because at the end of the month your card doesn't work anymore and
Right.
still got to feed kids. So like I said, hopefully not too many people were permanently hurt by that. But anyway, well, Joanna would be happy. We got some politics in here.
Yeah.
Now say something funny for the audience.
So no.
Whoa. Yeah, you got anything
Yeah.
less anti-Semitic or?
Yeah.
No, it was a pro set.
Yeah.
We
It was a good joke. We just didn't get to the ending. Yeah, no, it was.
This is where your head's at.
Yeah. It goes all over the place. Yeah. No, I mean, life has been good, and it's on several avenues. Some of it is business related, right? Because it is a lot of my life.
Yeah.
And takes up a lot of time, mental energy, all those things. But really, for the first time ever, not the first time ever, the first time since we've really grown to where the size we are now, we've been there before in, a couple different moments, right? This is the most peaceful it's been, with employee choices, learning lessons along the way as we've systemized and processed. That part has been phenomenal to actually see this thing take off to where it is now. And even with all the frustrations and the things that have held us back, we still doubled from last year, right? And then tripled from the year before that, and making goals now that are reasonable and just slowing down my mind to where are we going from here, right? And learning, I've been wearing a lot of hats a lot recently, probably in the last 2-3 months, right? A lot of hats.
Yeah, you're number one plumber, trainer, HVAC guy. You're also bookkeeper,
Manager,
marketing manager,
and
hiring manager.
yeah, and we finally, continued to slow build the team again to a point where, okay, I'm passing this hat off and learning. I feel like I have to constantly relearn. Maybe it's my personality, but I have to constantly relearn to delegate. And even there's things that happen, and then I'm like, okay, I'll just take that really quick without thinking about it, because it's like, oh, well, you got to take this time off. I'll handle that. And like, no, what am I doing, right? And when I have time to sit down, relearning or fixing bad habits is what it is, right? It's a bad habit that I have of, I'll just handle that, and you guys go take care of what you need to take care of. And
Mike's a big, if you want something done right, you do it yourself kind of guy.
I do,
By
yeah.
nature, right?
Yeah. By nature, not because I know I can do it better than everyone else. I come in and I try to help, and then I realize it's hindering, not helping. And so if I'm not empowering guys to be delegating, like for John's position, right? Our guys have got paid vacation. It is obviously that they're going to use that because it's their right to do so. And so if they want to take a week, what am I going to do in those weeks off? And then panic kind of sets in, and like, well, shoot, I got to take that on, I guess. Like, no, what am I doing? Like, no, you find, it's your position. Find somebody else to do your position when you're gone. And then I was like, oh, okay, delegate, right?
Yeah.
But I don't need to delegate everything, and I certainly can't have the expectation, which is natural for people to have, that, well, Michael, just handle it while I'm doing something else. And it's like, no, it's not my job anymore. And
you're having to retrain them too, because they've come to expect Michael to take care of it.
Yeah, because I've taught them that, right? And then I do handle it. I take care of it, but I don't realize how busy it makes me. And so learning where are those boundaries, and then also how can I empower this to keep moving smoothly when vacations happen. And sometimes a bigger crew helps with that because it can get split. If one guy leaves in a crew of 10, one guy leaves in a crew of 2, there's a big difference, right? And so learning what those things look like, and it's been awesome, a great experience. I've enjoyed being in the field a little bit because it's what I'm good at, and training, especially in those regards. But now I take on, if I'm going on a job, somebody's going to come with me. I'm not going out to the field just to do what I do. It has to be purpose and intent behind it. And so we're trying to figure out how to schedule that.
Well, and when you do schedule it like that, you're doubling your investment in your business. Not only are you making money today, you're training so that you can make money tomorrow. You're either sitting behind a desk or on a beach or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the goal for the new quarter, right? Is that I'm only leaving the office for certain positions, which is shower, bath, consults, and training, and that's it. So I can get back to, it's not, the vision hasn't been dampened, right? I still got a grand vision, but working on it right now is very difficult. It's still moving forward.
Yeah.
We have a lot numbers wise that we need to work through to make those things happen. But for right, it's not on hold. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, well, and our realization over the last year, we were talking about the advertising piece of it earlier, but just being able to set big goals and work towards them while having the realistic expectation of like, okay, I'm not going to get there in a day or a week or a month or even a year maybe, but just because I haven't got there yet doesn't mean I should be discouraged or give up on the dream. It just means I need to keep working and be patient.
Yeah, and that's a tough one for me because last year we were supposed to be in in a different state building one of these companies, right? And learning that that's still a good goal, but it wasn't practical to get to that.
Yeah, and that midterm goal turned out to not be the best thing to support your long-term goal.
Exactly.
So it's okay to
I'm glad we stayed, because else profitability would have been destroyed again, right? Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have, all the savings that we've created would have had to go to something else, and it just wasn't worth it. And so I'm glad it didn't happen, right? God's timing and all that stuff. And that's one
His
part.
His plan
of it
is always a lot better.
Yeah, and you still got to push for it, right? You want what you want, and you hope he's got his hand in it when you're following him. But there's certain things that's like, well, I should be further. And that's that. I tell you this, and the gals in the office, like I have a level of discontent. I'm happy, but discontented. It's like, this isn't good enough. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Right? And
be happy, but not satisfied.
It's a grind. It's a great mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The hard part for me is always enjoying the happiness while still striving for more. And I, hopefully getting better at it. But I know that, especially in the past, I would let my perfectionist mindset steal my joy. I'd be number one at whatever position I was in, or even top 3 or whatever. But because I didn't hit this one mark or hadn't hit it yet, I was dissatisfied, kicking myself and saying, if you would have worked a little harder, or if you'd have done this better. There's no fruit from that. You gotta separate the two. Say, okay, I did everything I could. I made progress. I'm doing better. And tomorrow I'm gonna work, be even better. But I'm gonna sit down and enjoy my family, or go golf and enjoy the beautiful sunshine today, and know that I did everything I could. All right, I think that's a good note to end on. No, I'm just kidding. So let's wrap this up on a high note. No.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. But we do have a lot to be thankful for this holiday season. We'd love it if you guys share what you're thankful for in the comments. Like and share and follow the podcast. But before we go, what do you want to focus on at the end of this year, we got 1 month left. It's going to make 2026 even better.
There's we're trying to figure out next year's goals. We've got a number that we want to hit business wise, and really getting better at breaking things into quarters. Like this 3 months, this is what we're working on. So we're trying to figure out what that list is, so that by the end of March we have we know what we're going to accomplish during that time. Right? It's still slow season, and what are we going to be able to accomplish? Things that, so working on what happens if a guy is sitting here, what's something productive that he could be doing that's not just cleaning the shop, right? And what could he be getting better
Which,
at?
by the way, you guys could do a little bit more of.
Yeah. Yeah, I made a mess of it in the weekend. And that's something that it's important for us to figure that out, and making sure that that goal is something that, as we're striving for it, which is, it's a big number that's based off of percentages and conversions and ticket numbers, right? So
Yeah.
all of those have to be penciled out of, okay, can we practically reach this goal? Because there's nothing worse for your whole team to have a goal that they weekly, daily, that they can't reach feasibly, right? And so that's what, by the end of the year, kind of still ramping up and making sure that the bad habits of last year don't get recreated, to where I go, okay, we can't ramp up right now. Like, there's things, budget, any of those things that they're messing with my head of, no, we're picking up speed. How do we do it smartly? Right.
Yeah. And that's a huge, pie to eat, is, okay, are we investing the money that we've made wisely to prep ourselves for unexpected costs or opportunities or things like that? Great. That's step one. Training. Okay. Am I training these guys so that they don't repeat the mistakes of last year? Great. Am I sitting down with my bookkeeper and accountant and making, reasonable predictions based on, okay, if each guy, hits this minimal bit, medium baseline, this is what we'll make. Okay, great. Now I want to stretch it 5% or 10% or whatever, and to make those wise decisions. It's a big pie. Okay, so you've got your December cut out for you. So I'll see you in January, because obviously you're gonna be buried for the next month, huh?
Yeah, right. Potential.
And by the way,
and the goal is
run your business at
the beginning of the year is I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions. I don't think you are either, but maybe.
No, I like the new year more as okay, what did I do last year? Be proud of the things you accomplished, correct things that weren't great, and then set some kind of guidelines for the next year. Not like I'm gonna work out every day because I should be doing it anyway.
Yeah, what can I?
Why wait till January?
Yeah, January for me is like fresh start. It would be, the goal once again is for me to be in the office, because I have a lot that I need to be doing that I'm not able at this time to delegate. There are just some things that I have to handle, and that's the goal within a month. Like, okay, the whole team's here, now I can sit back. They all know that's the expectation. What they think I'm just sitting around playing solitaire or not. I'm going to be in the office.
As somebody who, as a guy who's got a desk job, work on my computer all the time, I do think a lot of the blue collar guys think that I just sit there playing on my computer. And,
well, yeah, I do.
Yeah, exactly. See, even the guy who's paying me, thinks I just sit there playing solitaire. And I know some of it's in jest, but I think there's a level of that where.
Oh, not anymore.
Not you, but I know some of the, and maybe not your guys, but like, my other clients, most of them were blue collar workers. And, Eric, he thought that I just had meetings and made money by having meetings.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, kind of, like, networking is a big part of how I get my customers.
Yeah.
But no, is that how I make money? Not really. That's just how I get the work.
I was always, I mean, it's like a guy could spend 2 hours on the computer and then outsource the rest, and boom, you've just got this incredible day. And there was a level of that, of lack of understanding now after several months of being in the office and how long it takes me to get something done on the computer. I look at it and go, even if he was twice as fast as me, it would be never ending on the
Oh yeah.
computer. And so I looked at it like that, and I was like, yeah, it's not my, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and it still takes a long time to get things to where it,
Runs
especially
itself.
it runs. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then I've I've also got all these customers who are constantly like, "Oh, this is working, cool, yeah, do that for me." And sometimes it's easy to just shift gears and move that way, but a lot of times it's like, okay, I just spent the last week setting up this other thing that you wanted me to do. Do you want me to do both, or do you want do you want me to pull all the resources from this to go here? What's your budget? Well, you just do it. Okay, you got it, Mr. Customer. And some of them are better at understanding that than others. And I like Paul's um, philosophy. Just the more money you give Ryan, the bigger your business will be.
No,
It's great advice for all you business owners. Advertising does work. It just you got to figure out which part.
yeah. And how big, and where do you want to start? Do you want to stop? Do you want to, you got to figure out what's going to work for your business.
Yeah, where's the point of diminishing returns?
Yeah, because if we'd have stayed where we were, we'd have been fine, but we'd have capped off clientele. And then, but every new step of advertising that we do is new learning curve for me, because I have to hire more people, create new systems, new processes, because it's changed so drastically, and it changes every couple of months, right? Oh yeah, we got to do something else now.
Well, and I feel like we used to say, okay, we're gonna do this, and we would do that until something prettier, shinier, better came up, and then we would pull budget from one thing to go to another thing. And the cool part about this new phase that we're in is instead of saying, okay, we're done doing radio advertising, we're going to do television, we're at a point where we could say, okay, let that run. It has worked. We just had a guy this morning. Oh, I heard you on the radio. That's Mike. I know that guy. Where we can say, yeah, we'll keep that going because that's working. Let's also add this other thing, which, going through streaming services and things like that, we don't have to spend 10 grand a month to reach a whole new audience. We can spend hundreds or a couple of $1,000 and realistically still make the phone ring.
Yeah, and we've kept growing from, 4 months ago, we could pick up every single client all day long, every day,
Oh yeah.
to now we had to create a system for basically prioritizing the matrix of all these calls. So we can fit in 15 calls a day. Now we get 16 to 20 calls a day. And which ones are priority?
Yeah.
Right now we've had to create a system for that goes, okay, this call came in, it gets bumped to the top of the list because it's highly profitable, it's an emergency, any of those things. Now we have to have someone whose full-time job is creating the most profitable day for our business. Well, then you have to create a system that defines that, because else you're looking at it going, I don't know, I'm not a plumber.
Yeah.
Which one's
There's
more
a priority
profitable?
one job and a tier one tech. Okay. That's a marriage made in
Yeah.
heaven. All right, I've got a priority 2 job and a tier C tech. Perfect.
Yeah.
Go. Don't cock it up, So, all right. Growing pains. These are the fun things. My kids did a homeschool curriculum all about entrepreneurship, and so they got to study some of the some famous entrepreneurs, and then also a bunch of people that I'd never even heard of. People who other people would probably have heard of. This one lady she really took the cosmetics industry to a whole other level in the early 1900s, and I can't remember her name, but if you were a girl and you bought makeup, you'd know who she was.
Is that when they put lead on?
No. She was kind of the first like multi-level, door-to-door Mary Kay type, but before Mary Kay. And she was black, and most of her reps were black, and so they reached a whole different community and really blew it up, and it was awesome. But the big focus around the whole unit was being an entrepreneur is about solving problems, whether that means, what the product and service I'm going to sell is at the beginning to, okay, I had a little success, I have to grow. What does that look like? Does that mean I'm doing more, I'm farming out more, I'm, delegating, or I'm, niching down? What does it mean to grow? And does it just mean more revenue, or does it mean more everything? All those fun things. I thought that was the best unit they've done in years. My favorite though is still Christmas Run. So anyway, fun.
Yeah.
I don't know why I brought that. Just in case you entrepreneurs out there are also homeschooling your kids, check out Gather Round. Anyway, I'm thankful for Mike, my good buddy, in our relationship. Ooh, that was a fun handshake. And thankful for the Unrivaled potential audience, and for Frontline Marketing and Unrivaled Plumbing and Heating.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe, and have a great Thanksgiving, guys.
Okay. Take care.